Hey everyone, Britton Snyder here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to another Sound Exchange session. I am here with Anthony Coviello at Sound Exchange in Wayne, New Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah, because somebody called you out, so you have to make sure you say Sound Exchange
every
now.
single time, right?
I'm sure that everybody knows where we are.
I know. And you hit on that last time. You're right. Most people do. But for those of you that are new tuning in, and I managed to get 1,000 new subscribers in only 20 days.
Why?
Last month. Video that I filmed that blew up and did really
video?
well. It was a collab with some other fairly well-known.
Anybody take their pants off?
No, unfortunately not. But I'm sure all their viewers came in and really helped. But point is, there are at least 1,000 new subscribers on here since
That might
the
not
last
know
time.
that this is Sound Exchange.
That's right, Sound Exchange in Wayne, New Jersey. Where,
Not Washington, D.C.
Yeah, not Washington, D.C. and not the music royalty company or the stereo equipment company, because there's all these other sound exchanges out there, right?
That touches on our topic. I don't know what the phrase, but people call.
Right.
And, hey, whatever their thing is, and it has nothing to do with what we do, and you explain to them, we sell records, tapes, and CDs. We don't issue royalty checks. We don't service equipment. We don't sell equipment.
And
then they don't understand.
Yeah, exactly. They say.
And then they ask me, if I can give them the number to my sister store. No,
Right, yeah.
There is no sister store.
That's
right. I start the conversation with, there's no affiliation.
Right.
We're not related.
And then they say,
so
you're not related?
And then they still try to find a way to get me to give them the information about the other store. I don't know.
So, with the knowledge that we just pointed out, that this is in fact a record store.
A record store.
A record store.
Not a royalty, not an equipment place.
Right. I thought let's ask you some questions, some record store owner style questions.
Nothing about equipment or royalty checks.
Nothing about equipment or royalty
Goodness.
checks. So you're going to know.
Because we got that this morning.
That's right.
Yeah,
So
I might know the other side of it.
You might know the other
I
side
do know
of this.
royalty checks.
You will, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
Made $100 this year.
Did you really? Congrats. That's great, though.
It's kind of funny. What's up, man? How you guys doing today?
What's going on?
All right.
So first question on here. How do you feel about stocking music that you don't like? I know you fill this full of
I
the
thought I
stuff you love.
thought I was gonna hate it, and it turns people on, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm here for your excitement.
Right. I mean,
And somebody walks in and buys something that you have complete disgust over, and that's cool because their excitement doesn't change the way you look at the music. It changes the way you look at the music.
right. Well,
Does that make sense?
No, it does.
It's not going to make me like it, but it's going to make me accept it and say, I was the dick.
Well, it turns someone else on.
Yeah,
so,
that's cool, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like stocking music that I don't like, and sometimes you find something
to like about it.
or you didn't like Brussels sprouts as a kid. As you get older, you're like, man, these things are great.
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
So music's like that too. So I love stocking music I don't like. Nothing beats stocking the shit that you
love.
want to shove down somebody's throat and you want to turn somebody onto
Yeah.
because it moves you that much. But this stocking music I don't like. It's the same thing. It's a close right there.
I mean, you can't. I guess only tap into the market of the stuff that you love, and then you're always going to love. And when I say you, I'm saying in general. Because
Yeah.
if I were running a store, it'd be the same thing. You're always going to love something that's obscure that you want to shove down everyone's throat, but only a couple people are actually going to get that. So you got to stock the other stuff, the bigger artists, the popular artists, whether you like them, don't like them. Fortunately, you actually like some of the modern artists. You like Taylor Swift, Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa's the shit.
Yeah.
Might have a Dua Lipa party today.
I always think about if I were running a record store, not that I don't like those artists, but I would only want to stock the stuff I like. But then I couldn't be a record store that only sells glam metal.
No, because you're gonna go out of business.
I'm going to go out of business, exactly.
And that's the other thing. You have to. I don't give a shit about Kanye West, but he sells hugely.
Right, so you put it
He
in
made
there.
he made some great albums. For me not to stock that,
Right. Well, it would be,
now as a
it'd be
business
foolish.
person, I'd be
Right.
an asshole because one kid buys it here, tells her friend you can buy it there, and it.
Right.
So yeah, you stock the shit you don't like. You have to. If you don't,
Yeah.
you're a dick.
Well, and as you said, it's still a business. This also may be a passion and a love.
And I hate saying it like that too every time, but it is.
Right?
It is, and that's something that I fight going to sleep every night.
Yeah, right? All right, next question on here. What is your philosophy with dealing with the public? Because you're not always going to get the perfect music fan in here who's cool, laid back, and chill. Sometimes you get, we've talked about this, you get the one in here who wants to tell you why you need to like an artist, or you get the one in here that asks you the same question over and over. But you've got a pretty good idea about this. And I'll remind you if you can't think of an answer right off the...
Treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
There's so many theories out there. KRS-One was great in saying, don't treat people the way you want to be treated. Treat them the way they want to be treated. And that's a hard mindset to get into.
That is, yeah. Goes against the golden rule.
It does go against the golden rule.
But it's better than the golden rule. Because if you're treating them the way that they want to be treated, that's even better than how you might want to be treated.
Yeah, but you don't know how somebody wants to be treated until you get to know them.
That's true. That's true.
So there's so many ins and outs. Treat everybody the same. Treat everybody cool until it's time to not treat them cool.
Give them benefit of the doubt.
And my new philosophy, well, it's a philosophy each of us has had, and it's hard to put into play. Be 100% honest right from the start.
Yeah. Tell them that
I don't like this.
Yeah, you don't like it or doesn't
not
move
my
you the
thing.
same way.
But tell me why you like it. Don't tell me why I should like it. I want to know what turns you on about it.
Exactly. And that was the sort of philosophy that came to my mind when I put this question down.
Yes.
Which is, you came up with this after, having the store for a certain amount of time and it getting kind of frustrating, and then eventually you kind of flipped it all on its head. And that the response now is, tell me why you like it.
Yeah.
Instead. Then they can get their passion out.
And maybe your passion will be intriguing or inspiring to me to want to open it, rediscover it. But until then, the more you come in and bark your orders at me about why I should be a Beatles fan,
right,
I am not going to be it.
Or like a different Pink Floyd album other than Momentary Lapse of Reason.
Yeah, not going to happen.
That
right
one
now.
clicked with you, but nothing else, and that's okay, man. All right, and then, do you believe that music collecting is going to be passed down to younger generations?
Yes.
Through.
I have to believe that.
Yeah. Have you seen?
I do believe it.
Have you seen any of that?
Yeah, we see it all the time.
Yeah.
Think of Rick and Jack.
Yeah, well, absolutely, right. I've definitely seen stuff like that. I haven't seen it on a big scale. And,
Define big.
Yeah, I don't know how to put it into terms other than an equal amount of younger people as the older people. Like, we come from it. This is physical media was our thing, so there's people of a certain age.
It's a kid's thing again. Yeah. Right now, I fucking hate this word too. The climate of this industry, every age is buying. We get people in here from kids buying CDs and records, 8 years old, to 78 years old buying records.
And they're just big kids. Big kids.
And there's also a thing to pass it down. It's like shoving something down somebody's throat. If I had kids and I was going to a record show, I'd have to drag my kids. They're going to hate it.
Right, for a while.
But if you have a kid, say like Jack, who just loves music,
right,
and then Rick nurtures that because he also loves music, that's a different kind of growth.
True.
So passed down, yes. Nurtured, yes. Some people are going to hate it, but I think it's still going to be a thing. I think this is the change that we're going to see in this business industry thing, where it's going to maintain. It's not going to die. It's not going to go away. It'll remain. People are going to want to touch it, whether they're buying the $1 CD, the $15 CD, or the $30 record.
Right. It's going to continue.
It's going to continue. It's going to ebb and flow, but I don't think it's going to crash again.
Go away.
There's going to be a maintenance level. We just don't know what that is yet.
Yeah, that's really...
Save your money, use your money wisely, and we will stay in business.
Yeah.
And treat the people right.
That's interesting. I hadn't heard you put it in that perspective, and I certainly hadn't thought of it in that manner, but, it's going to balance out. We had the crash initially when streaming first happened. But now it's...
Look at the slow rise.
The slow rise of this, it's come back, and there will probably always be people who will enjoy that and like that there will now be able to be a balance of some type. And whether there's peaks within it, the way vinyl has come back, if there's later a CD revival or something else, or some new format.
Yeah, happened with books too.
True.
All the Kindle assholes. Now it's leveled out.
Yeah.
People, they do both.
And
we all do both.
And bookstores still exist, where when Amazon and Barnes & Nobles first happened, all the independent places were closing the way independent record stores were closing, and they have found a market. So
independent record stores didn't know how to survive with big box people. It's because when in the heyday of the 80s and early 90s, it was a ton of money. We sold 100 copies of a new release on new release day. That's just Tuesday.
yeah, right.
Then you still have coming into your weekend. So you're probably selling a new Pearl Jam record. Every store is selling 300 copies.
Oh, at least
300
yeah.
copies at $3 a piece. Let's say they were
Yeah.
making back then $2 to $3 profit, right? Because that would be the 20 or 30% markup on a new CD or cassette then. So that bulk kept them in business. All of a sudden, it trickled down to where they're selling 5.
Right.
They don't know how to survive on that. They could have,
Right.
but it was easier just to say, "Fuck, we got to close."
Right. That was the
Instead of
corporate-
trying to find a way to survive, like Art did,
Yeah.
like Vintage Vinyl did, Princeton did,
Well, now, those
Dan
are,
over
are
at Flipside did.
used or record stores that were also selling used, whereas the big corporate stores weren't doing that. And the corporate mentality was, if we can't make the same profit,
Yes.
close.
But even, I mean, there were how many independents closed still?
Yes.
Because they also couldn't adapt.
Right. Yeah.
And that sucked.
But things are, have been looking better for quite some time. Definitely over the last 5 years, I've noticed a lot more record stores, and not ones that are just the hipster vinyl places, but real, honest to goodness record stores popping up.
A lot of these record stores popping up too are they're people going in thinking they're going to make $1 million. Holy shit.
Right.
I've got these records. I can buy these records and sell these records for 150% markup.
Right.
And people are paying them.
Some are.
But that's where it's going to go. That's where the line's going to.
It'll eventually pop.
And then these are the people that think they're going to get rich. And then.
Well, we hear it. I mean, there's people that come in here and buying stuff, and I hear it online where people buy things, they don't want to open it. They're saving that sealed copy because they think that this is going to be a retirement thing for them somewhere down the road. Hey, maybe they'll get lucky. Maybe some of that stuff will turn out to be thousands of dollars one day, but in most cases, it's not. No. Records aren't going to go up that much. Some things, you'll have
Sup,
success
buddy?
with.
Ooh, what did we get today?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Nice pretty package and a water bill. Right? Don't want that. Want the pretty package instead.
Yeah, they just changed over to we have to pay water now, which is fine.
I was going to say, yeah, normally that would be your landlord. Anything interesting? No, we don't know.
1486.
Yeah. Oh, that's not you.
That's not us.
Yeah, that's not you. All right. Well, you'll redistribute the wealth
deal
later. All right. So I guess this kind of goes in with what we talked about in terms of the passing down, where you touched on this. But the next question was whether or not you see the record store surviving for the next 20, 30, 40 years.
If you do it right.
If you do it right, yeah. And
maybe a lot of it has to do with my main career choice as a bartender. You take the good with the bad.
Right.
Right?
That's like the market.
Exactly. You got great seasons. Save for the shitty season.
Right.
Because the good isn't going to last forever and the bad isn't going to last forever. The only reason the bad lasts forever is because you didn't save for it.
Right.
The only reason the good lasts forever is because you're fucking stupid. And I don't mean that negatively.
No, I know, but
I wish I was that person that just.
Right. You believed it was all hunky dory, rainbows, and
I have dear friends like that. They just cruise through, head bobbing side to side
until it crashes.
No, it never fucking crashes
really?
for them.
Hey.
These are people that will never crash for because they have such an outlook that nothing crumbling around them is a negative thing. They find the ultimate positive in it more than I ever could.
I think I gave you the wrong package.
You did. I was going to deliver it for you.
Yeah, I just thought about
No
that.
problem.
Is the water bill?
That's why I double checked it. It's like maybe it's not.
Maybe I don't have to pay this,
That's
right?
Okay.
Right. Well, yeah. So that is good.
It's going to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be here. All right, and then we have touched on this one also, but I wanted to throw it in here because we're sort of the interview to the record store owner kind of thing. But how do you deal with rising prices?
You just do it.
Yeah.
You try to find ways around it.
You've talked about in terms of selling it in bulk, right? Instead of marking things up to those big high numbers, even when you get that used album, you just got some Megadeth, Combat Records releases.
Get them in and get them out.
Right. Mark it up a little bit, but don't put it out for the top tier Discogs price.
No, but even new stuff. So used stuff, we price accordingly. We price better than most or as good as everybody else. The good ones, not the shitty
I
ones.
find lots of stuff in here that should be way higher priced than it should be.
Well, like what?
Well, like the first time I came in.
Oh,
and I
those were
bought
the imports. That's different.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with me.
No.
We're still going through that.
No. I'm talking about the used. When I got the Megadeth combat record stuff from here, and they were
It was underpriced instead of
yeah.
I thought you
that's
were
what I'm
saying overpriced.
No, underpriced. In your used section, you were saying at or equivalent to a lot of places, and I was saying no, man. There's a lot of stuff that you put out that is way under. You know, if you're hunting for that stuff and you know what the value of it is, so I was just giving you props on that aspect.
Awesome.
But that idea of you putting it out, so you move it, you turn it around instead of sitting on something.
Yeah. The new stuff, you can walk into a new record store and you can see that new Envy of None record that I'm staring at. And how much is it here?
This is $29.98.
Okay.
Alex
Some
likes
places will
them.
put $32.98, $31.98, $34.98.
Yep.
That's list. I'm going to try to pump it out for list.
Right.
If there's a my markup, I try to look at the same across the board because I want it in and out of here. I don't
Right.
want it to sit.
And if somebody sees this and it's $29.98, they're more inclined maybe to pick up a second release instead of if it's $35 or something like that, and then they just come in and buy the one thing
Yeah.
that they came for.
But I see guys marking up their releases over list because they need to survive. If that's their way, that's okay.
Right.
But they're fucking doing it wrong. They're doing it because
Yeah, there's other ways to do
they're
it.
doing it wrong from the human being aspect, right?
Well,
Because
that
you're
too.
robbing people to keep yourself in business. Maybe you shouldn't be in this business, or maybe you should. It's
But
America.
we
It's
know
capitalism. It's whatever.
We know some record stores that do that, and those particular ones are ones you and I don't return to very often.
But then you get the other people who return to those record stores.
I know.
Which sucks.
They don't know any better, in my opinion. They don't go to enough
You're
record
right.
stores to know that the prices at those other ones that are jacking them up
Yep.
way above list, that they're being taken advantage of. And that's the thing. It's like, yeah, you have the opportunity. You could mark these things up a lot higher, but
won't.
you might not be in business long.
Yeah.
And your mentality has been to keep it down at a reasonable level, move more product, and in the long run, make more money.
I
that
know
way.
what I need to live. I know
Yeah.
what this store needs to live. That's it. There's
Right.
no extra. When this store makes money, it's the store's money,
Yeah.
not my money.
Which is the thing. You're also not pocketing those profits and going, woohoo, I've made
We're-
a lot of money.
Because I'm trying to find a way to continuously make the store better.
You've invested a lot back in. Those people that have been lucky enough to be able to come by and visit the store that are local, or we've had people travel from all over the place and come visit you here, know the difference that this store is now, almost 4 years on from you purchasing and taking it over. You can actually walk the aisles and see things, and under cabinet lights to search through things that are down below, and lots of stuff high up on shelves that just really pack the place to the gills. But it's that kind of stuff too that has made a lot of people who had walked in after a long time of not being here or saw a video like this, that they got to see the interior of the store and saying, wow, I haven't been here in 20, 30 years. I thought I'd come down and check it out. Oh my goodness, this place is so much better.
Yeah.
Right? But doing that kind of stuff too, I think, is what helps make people come back.
Stock it full. Also with rising price, I can't. There's certain things I can't stock.
Box sets have been one that,
Box sets, I can't stock them all. I
but,
can special order it, and I tell people this.
right?
And what I tell them, and then those exact people come in on the day of release and say, "I'm here for this," and I can't afford to. What cost me $250? You should have pre-ordered it. You should have put a deposit on it. I can't stock it.
Right. And
So
you can have it here on release day if people just
I can have shit here on
tell
release
you.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, give you
totally.
a week notice and you'll have that stuff
Yep.
here.
The Black Crows, the Jimmy Page,
Yeah.
6 LP box set. I've
Right.
got 4 pre-orders on that. That's awesome. They pre-ordered it. Guess
Right.
what? They're gonna have it this week, and they're gonna have it for the
they're gonna
120 or 125 list that it is,
They're going to be happy because they're
and
getting
they're
it
gonna
on
be
time.
happy. And I make under 20% on that fucking box set.
Yeah.
That's a bummer, but Amazon sells it for $119.98. In
Yeah.
order for me to make just about 20%, I got to sell it for $125.
Yeah. I know.
That sucks.
You're constantly
That
competing
freaking
with that sort of
stinks, yeah.
thing. Right.
I had
right.
a guy swore to me that he wanted to buy. He was looking for the new Rush LP box set. I said I can have it here Monday. It's $250. He said Amazon's got it for $230. Amazon didn't have it for $230. He was just an asshole and needed it tomorrow,
Okay.
which I get it.
Yeah.
And in the same breath, he says, "Oh, I understand this Amazon thing. My friend owns a comic book store and he deals with it all the time too." I said, "So wait a minute.
Yeah. So you understand it and you get it.
You understand it and you get it,
And you're still,
and you're still." He's like, "I shop here all the time." No, you don't.
yeah.
No, you don't.
But people love to throw that one around too, that like because they shop here all the time, they deserve discounts and other things. And it's
Ugh.
like, and I know you hate the word, but it's still a business, and
It is.
you can't just because somebody is in the store all the time. Yeah, you're thankful for their business, but you can't just start discounting, or everything's out the window.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I get one guy now that it comes in every time for a discount.
Mm-hmm.
It just so happens, it's as if he reads my mind. It's stuff I'm putting out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm waiting for him to come in and ask for a discount on the non-discounted stuff and say, dude, you got to take a step back.
Right.
You don't walk into anybody's store. It's just etiquette. And say, hey, what can you do for me on this?
Right.
It makes you an asshole.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I always like to turn it around and say, after you got your surgery the last time, did you go to your doctor and be like, hey, what can you do for me on this bill?
Yeah.
Like you don't go to your lawyer and say that. You don't go to your doctor. You don't go to, I don't know, just regular stores that you walk into to do that kind of stuff. But for some reason, they feel that they can, here in a music store. Or,
Yep. And what people don't realize with Amazon, too, is there's a machine pulling your stuff. So that 20% you're paying markup,
yeah.
which, think about it. On a CD, it's $2 to $3, right?
Yeah.
You got to sell a lot of CDs to make any kind of money. What's up, gentlemen?
How you doing?
Good.
You don't want to pay that markup. How am I paying Finn?
Right. Exactly.
How
Well,
am I paying Sky?
You've got store.
How am I keeping the lights on? So
Yeah.
that 20% at the end of the year, I just did my taxes. At the end of the year, there is zero.
Yeah, like you said, it's just keeping the lights on. It's paying the employees. It's the overhead. It's the stuff that it takes to run the store. It's the stuff to have enough money in here to be able to order in all that record store day stuff that's coming out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so deal with rising prices.
you just
We went over a little rant. You just do.
You just
you
do.
do the best you can and do right by people.
I
And it's
think
going to
that's-
come back to you.
Yeah, and that's sort of the moral of this in terms of everything that you do for the store. Do right by
Do
people.
right.
Yeah, it's all going to come back to you in the end of the
And
day.
it's okay to not do right if you are not done right by. That doesn't mean negative things, but you
Right.
don't have to be friendly to somebody who's not friendly to you.
Right.
You can
Right.
be friendly until there's a time not
To be friendly. That's right. I agree. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Until,
Everybody gets the benefit of the doubt, which goes back to how to philosophy
Right.
on dealing with people. Yeah.
That's right. And don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah, right. All right, everyone.
Buy
thanks for-
local. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not
right.
saying don't shop on Amazon.
Right.
but-
But also support your local businesses, stores, bookstores, whatever it might be.
Yeah,
I agree completely.
the world's going to end. Things will crumble. We'll still be here.
That's right. Amazon will not. Your online retail store will not. So make
yeah.
sure you're nice to your local businesses. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in on that. And Anthony, thanks for answering these 5 questions about what it's like to be a record store owner and types of things you have to go through, in business, in life, in everything in general. Right?
Yeah.
All right, everyone. See ya.